Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the athletic fields here at Milford High School as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. Once again, this is Tim Coet on the call. Today we begin our first boys soccer coverage of this 2018-19 fall sports season. The Milford Scarlet Hawks come in second place in the Davenport Division standings with an overall record of 3-1-2, and today they welcome in a team from the Kelly Rex Division in the Taunton Tigers. Taunton comes into the matchup at 2-2-2 overall on the season. They are currently in third place over in the Kelly Rex standings of the Hockomock League. So a Hockomock crossover matchup for you here this afternoon. And for Milford coming in fresh off of a tie against North Attleboro. North has been very good so far on the season. As a matter of fact, Milford able to score a goal in that game as part of the draw, and it was just the second goal allowed on the season for North Attleboro. So Coach Edwards, talking to him prior to the game, was very pleased with the effort against a very stingy defense on that North Attleboro Red Rocketeer squad. So Milford looking to get back into the win column. They were able to win 3 out of their first 4 matches on the season before suffering their first loss back on September 21st against Mansfield, and then that draw against North Attleboro. And so now here once again on their home field, set to take on Taunton. And right as we get set for the opening kick in this match, we see some very light rain coming down, some intermittent showers throughout the day today. We don't expect anything heavy or anything long-lasting, at least through the duration of this match here this afternoon. So we'll see if the weather conditions have any impact on the play here today. But in terms of offense, you know the likely target Milford's going to use throughout this game, and that is junior Wallison de Oliveira, who is following up his breakout sophomore season with an outstanding junior year so far. He has scored 5 of the 10 total goals that Milford has scored so far on the season, and that includes a hat trick, which he notched in a win against Foxborough back on September 17th. Milford was able to pull out a victory against Taunton in their lone matchup last season. So looking to make it consecutive victories against the Tigers. Of course, these two schools linked in terms of their status in the Hockomock League. Both came into the Hawk in the same year back about half a dozen years ago now, with Milford entering into the Davenport and Taunton into the Kelly Rex. But with that, this matchup now underway between Milford and Taunton. Happy to have our first soccer coverage of the season for you here on Milford TV. We've already had a chance to check in with the football team and the girls volleyball team so far on the season, and we turn our attention to soccer this week. We'll have the girls coming up tomorrow. And we also want to welcome in all of our live streaming viewers. We're happy to bring you live streaming coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics whenever we can, and happy to be doing so here today as meanwhile Taunton gets a very early shot on goal and a save made by Josh Orellana, who gets the start in net for the Milford Scarlet Hawks. So an early wake-up call. Offense was not the problem for Taunton last season. Had some problems on the back end. They ended up scoring more goals than Milford did on the year last year. 40 goals scored in total on the season last year for Taunton. But they allowed the second highest goal total on the year as that ball drifts just off of the foot of de Oliveira as Milford looks for an early offensive chance. And now Taunton quickly with the breakout back the other way. Milford looking to attack from right to left across your screens here in the first half. But Taunton with speed the other way. They drift over towards the far side of the field. Another clean shot on net and a save by Orellana. And now Milford having to get their defense involved to protect the goal mouth, and a lot of activity on net. So a good save by Orellana. And then it was Lucas da Silva back there who was able to snuff out the rebound chance. And so Taunton has come out with a lot of energy here in the opening minutes. Milford able to dump it back deep. As now back there is Omar Lima, who scored his first goal of the season just in Milford's last game, and now follows it up, getting that one past the keeper. And after a couple of scary chances for Taunton, it is Milford who is able to strike first as Omar Lima nets his second goal of the season. And just like that, the Scarlet Hawks are able to take a 1-0 lead. Lima really taking advantage of the opportunity. Milford just clearing that ball deep downfield. He was able to get back in position and quickly send it on net. A wide open look as it turned out. And so Milford now with some energy as they send it over the middle. Now clogged up in the midfield by Taunton. They try to break it back out their way. And now Taunton able to get back defensively as Lima was there again. Lima looking to really put the pressure on here. That ball drifting just out of play. The senior captain, Joey Madden, tosses the ball back in. Madden, a 4-year starter on this varsity team. He has been an integral part of the turnaround of this boys soccer program that has continued to take steps forward in each of the last 3 seasons. As Milford allows that one to drift back to the keeper, Orellana, who scoops it up. Milford scoring a little less than 2 minutes into this first half to take an early 1-0 lead. As now the Hawks control it at midfield. And with speed now, Anthony Salvador up the far side. He stays with it, tries for the centering pass, looking in the direction of Wallace and de Oliveira, but it did not get all the way to him. Taunton able to intercept. You can already hear now a lot of chatter from the Taunton sideline. Their head coach is Taylor Witters. Of course, Brian Edwards at the helm once again of this boys soccer team. He really has this program going in a terrific direction. Here's de Oliveira now hesitating, and that ball will deflect out of play. It will be a goal kick for the Tigers. Still just under 36 minutes left to play in this first half. Milford wasting no time getting on the scoreboard as the short kick out of net from the junior goalkeeper Nolan Mello for Taunton. Milford now fighting for it on the foot of Jordan Borges. Borges now for Lucas De Silva, who's been one of the goal scorers early on the season. In fact, Coach Edwards really making it a point when I spoke to him prior to the game to talk about the contributions of Lucas De Silva recently. Madden now waiting for his teammates to get in position before this toss deep on the attacking side. One popped up for grabs. Lima trying to settle it. And now a dangerous deflection off the foot of the Tigers. Fortunately for Taunton, that one drifted just to the left of the net and out of play. And you can see now, breathing a sigh of relief, I believe that was Kyle Aubin for Taunton that sent that one ever so close to being an own goal. Instead, it sets up a corner kick for the Scarlet Hawks. And drifting to the right of the net, Milford trying to head that one in. That might have been Boaventura over on the far side of the field with the header chance, but that one deflects off the side of the net. And Milford creating some chances now after Taunton was able to catch Milford a little by surprise through that early minute. 34:03 on the game clock now through this first half action. Milford and with some tough play across the midfield back onto the Taunton attacking side. A little space now created for Edward Paiva, but Milford able to get there. The senior captain, Tiago Carvalho, trying to clear that ball back downfield. Tiago Carvalho, Tiago Philadelphio, and Joey Madden, the tri-captains, all seniors for this year's Milford Scarlet Hawks boys soccer team. Spoke to all 3 captains prior to the start of the season, and it was really a familiar story from all 3 of them, really talking about the sense of family that this team feels. Most of them have played with each other since they were 7 or 8 years old. Taunton now trying to create something the other way, setting it up towards the far side and deflected away, but not out. And now Milford able to get the partial clear. Now loose towards the near sideline. A couple of Milford players there, including Madden. Getting to it first for Milford was Lucas De Silva. And now Milford gets the clear. De Oliveira and Lima both racing into the vicinity, and you can see the speed in the open field for those 2 players. Both of them juniors. Ball back in play. Taunton will get to it first, popping it down the near sideline, trying to hit a player in stride. That's Brett Bolio, who was the leading scorer for Taunton last season. Now the no-look pass backwards to Alec Nunes, being guarded closely by Anthony Salvador. And now the deep boot. This will fall shy of the goal mouth. Orellana now in a bit of a battle. He was able to win it. Took a little longer to develop perhaps than Orellana thought, and some good sportsmanship afterwards as made some contact with Bolio as the two went up for that loose ball. Ball left behind for Madden. Madden trying to get around a defender, and the whistle goes against Taunton. A little clutching and grabbing as Madden tried to make his way by. Free kick now taken by Tiago Carvalho. The ball right on the 45-yard line of the football markings. The soccer field outlined in yellow on this Milford turf field. Into a crowd just over the head of Wallace and de Oliveira. Milford keeps it in, but that ball will tick out of play off beyond the far corner. Taunton eventually tossing back in as we approach the 10-minute mark, 10 minutes into this first half action. And still a 1-0 Milford lead on the benefit of the second goal of the season for Omar Lima. A nice soft pass, that time from Lima looking for De Silva. We'll see our second Milford corner kick of this half. Jordan Borges setting up for it. Milford trying to take now a 2-0 lead. Softer kick this time, looking for the header chance right over the middle of the goal mouth. That was set up for Salvador. That ball ended up going just over his head. And a goal kick now for Mello. It stays a 1-0 lead for the moment. Milford feeling in control now. It was an uneven season results-wise for Milford last year. They struggled out of the gates, losing their first two matches, but then had their best stretch of the season following that, as Milford's able to intercept the pass, now trying to get ahead with speed. Here's de Oliveira trying to create some space and trying to get it back to Omar Lima, but that ball ends up out of play. And it will stay with Milford. Lima leaves it behind for Joey Madden to toss back in with 28:45 on the game clock. First half action here in Milford. And perhaps some extracurriculars going on before the play, and so the officials calming everything down as de Oliveira had that ball right on line and ends up popping it up over the net and out of play. A great chance for de Oliveira to net his 6th on the season, but drifts up and over. There's no mistaking Wallace and de Oliveira on the field. He is a physical force. Can create a lot on his own, can also get his teammates involved, and has very quickly become one of the most feared players in all of the Hockomock League. Right now, 2nd in goals in the Hawk overall this season. Taunton will toss it in deep on their attacking side with 27:29 on the game clock. Joey Madden with tremendous leaping ability. He was able to get to that Getting the partial clear, then the redirect back towards goal, and Orellana handles it cleanly. Orellana now with a huge boot, and that takes a good Milford bounce. Now a little bit too far away from Wallace and de Oliveira, who gave a little shoulder check as he came into the neighborhood, and now it's Anthony Salvador who takes a hard hit. He goes down. And he is slow to get to his feet. And so right now the Milford coaching staff heading out to check on the injured players. So we will pause briefly for the injury timeout. There's just over 26 minutes to go in this first half. Milford up 1-0 on Taunton. You're enjoying coverage of Milford High School boys soccer right here on Milford TV. Back to action here in Milford. It was Anthony Salvador who was shaken up on that last play. Coach Edwards going out to check on the senior. He was able to get off the field under his own power, but he was showing a visible limp. It looked like he might have been favoring to be the left quad area. So we'll see if Salvador is able to get back into the game, getting attended to now on the sidelines. Taunton, meanwhile, back up on their attacking side of the field, but Milford a good play to get that ball cleared out. Jordan Borges now trying to move it along, but Taunton regroups. Now sends it deep. Milford, great job getting positioned defensively. Lucas Da Silva able to get the step on his man and really box him out in front of the goal. 25:33 on the game clock now. They did stop the clock while Salvador was attended to on the field. Lima waiting for this one to come down. Deflects back out to midfield. Borges able to get there first. Ball ping-ponging back to de Oliveira, who has it taken away. Lucas Da Silva there in support. Now through a crowd, a soft pass as Milford tried to weave that in the direction of Omar Lima, who's now able to win it back defensively. Now guides it to Borges. Eventually Taunton able to get there. Send it down the near sideline, but only to be intercepted by Madden. Now a sliding play by Tiago Carvalho trying to move the ball along. We get a whistle with 24:34 on the game clock here in the first half. And it looks like we're going to see Salvador check back into this game. He waits now on the sideline. Still stretching out that quad, but ready to go back in and give it a go. As Madden sends that one just a little bit too deep. That was a good idea. And de Oliveira timing it well, but the ball just too far out in front. That allowed Mello to get there first. Back to midfield now for Joao Boaventura. Moves it along to Tiago Carvalho now. Crossing pass, a little miscommunication there as that one looked to be guided towards Nuno Mestre, but breaking in the wrong direction. The ball ends up out of play. Milford's best offensive mark of the season so far was that 4-0 win here at home against Foxborough back on the 17th. And, of course, 3 of those 4 goals were scored by Wallace and de Oliveira. Boaventura now hesitates, sends it back. And now Borges to Carvalho. Carvalho, the long strike. And that one, a nice save made by Mello as Carvalho tried to pick that top right corner. Third corner kick of the half now for the Scarlet Hawks. Again, coming from the near side. 22-26 on the first half clock. And up and over the crowd, and a couple of players collide. Boaventura looked like he made contact with Charlie Fisk, a senior on the Taunton side. And Taunton will clear it out now as we get close to the midway point of this first half action, from raindrops falling when the match first began to now the sun breaking through. That's the kind of weather we expected throughout this afternoon. Milford happy to be playing today and not yesterday, where considerable rain fell throughout the entire day. No outdoor games were scheduled for yesterday, I don't believe, for Milford, and a good thing is not playable conditions with the downpours yesterday, but more game-friendly conditions here today. Milford happy to have it. Scarlet Hawks, of course, an agonizing finish to their season last year. Of course, this is our first coverage of this 2018-19 season. You think back to how last year ended, needing just 1 point on the last day of the season to end their long playoff drought, but ended up losing to Nipmuc in a non-conference game, and so Milford ended up falling just 1 point shy of making it into the playoffs. I have a feeling the sting from that played into what was a very diligent off-season of work for these returning players, and Coach Edwards also crediting a lot of the parents for volunteering their time during the off-season to help the team with workouts and setting up matches to keep this team, keep these players in game shape. A lot of MIAA regulations that prohibit coaches from organizing those kind of off-season activities, so the parents stepping in. Coach Edwards saying that as soon as the team got together for practices prior to the start of the season, you could tell there was a difference in their preparation. Free kick coming up here will be taken initially by Tiago Carvalho, then setting it up for Wallace and de Oliveira, who sent it right into the hands of Nolan Mello, who made the save. A lot of shots on net for the Scarlet Hawks in this first half. Only one reaching the back of the net so far. 1-0 lead still for the Hawks, as we have now 19:25 to play in this first half. Of course, happy to not have the rain here today, but humidity extremely high for this game, and that may be more of a factor than anything for the players down on the field, trying to stay hydrated. As that ball deflects out, Taunton trying to send it off of a Milford player, and indeed they did, so they'll get the toss in here. Cameron Barrett, a junior. Short toss in where he finds Mateus Hagemeyer. Hagemeyer, one of the top scorers so far on the year for the Tigers. So we had a chance to look at some of the scoring stats overall for the Hockomock League heading into this week. Hagemeyer with 2 goals. Colby Fernandez also with 2 goals. Brett Bolio with 1. Taunton with 9 goals scored overall on the season coming into today's match. Milford with 10 goals scored. But Taunton allowing 12 goals through their first 6 matches. Milford has allowed just 5. This ball will take a long roll down towards the Taunton attacking side of the field before deflecting out. Getting deeper into this first half now, 17:33 on the clock as Madden sends the long arcing toss in the general direction of João Vitor Nieva. Ball ending up on the foot of De Oliveira, who tried to send it back to Nieva, but Taunton able to slide in. The ball eventually deflected out. Madden with another toss. Coach Edwards taking a moment to set up positioning for his team before the toss-in, as Boaventura left that one behind. Here's De Oliveira, who couldn't quite get the angle. Boaventura with a little bit of a fake there as he went, showing as if he was going to hit that ball and then let it go by. Ended up leaving De Oliveira open for a look on net, but again, sent it off the left side. So more chances for the Scarlet Hawks, but they have yet to extend this lead past the single goal, which was scored just under 2 minutes in. And Taunton, meanwhile, losing positioning. That was number 20, Kyle Aubin, who was a little slow to get up after and ended up leading to a possible chance behind the keeper for João Vitor Nieva. Ball ends up out of play, but Milford really flying around the field right now, and Taunton now bringing some fresh personnel out. Justin Dernoga and Colby Fernandez out onto the field. Kyle Aubin will take a seat after he missed that pass a moment ago and landed awkwardly. Took him an extra moment to get to his feet, and now trying to flex out the right calf. As Taunton will have the goal kick with just over 15 minutes left in the first half. Milford quick to intercept the pass. Milford's been fast on the ball throughout this first half. Taunton sending it down the field. Milford gets back, Lucas Caetano. Now it's Salvador. Looks to be moving well again after going to get helped off the field earlier in the half. Salvador still in the play, able to get a pass out to Borges. Now Boaventura, and a little extra grabbing on that play leads to the Milford kick. And again, seen a lot of mutual respect shown between these two teams. Playing hard out there, but a lot of high fives and pats on the back afterwards when two sides collide. So good, healthy respect shown by both of these teams so far, exactly what you'd like to see. Taunton now trying to get something going, despite the fact that this half has felt like it's been virtually all Milford. Taunton down by just a goal, so can change the momentum here in a hurry. Boaventura with a good defensive play, gets the praise from his head coach on the sidelines. Taunton can't get that ball off the far sideline. It eventually deflects out. Milford not giving Taunton much space to work with anywhere on the field. LFA de Oliveira checking into the game now as Salvador will get another rest. Game clock ticking down to 13 minutes to play in the half as Milford tosses it in. Guided down in the direction of Boaventura. Now it's de Oliveira fresh into the game. LFA de Oliveira has that taken away. It deflects out. Stays with Milford. Now Now that one gets past Nieva. Gets it back. And now Joao Boaventura tripped up from behind. And a chance to see a lot of Joao Boaventura during the boys volleyball season last spring, playing very well for a Milford team that made a deep playoff run. Several of these boys soccer players getting in on that postseason run for boys volleyball last spring. You have to wonder if that experience will help them here on the soccer pitch as this season goes along and potentially towards a playoff berth. Here's Carvalho now. Right on line to Boaventura, but there defensively for Taunton was Colby Fernandez. And Taunton will have the goal kick as we approach 11 minutes to go in the half. Sent towards the near side. Milford keeps it in. Borges finds Carvalho. Carvalho around one defender. And Borges trying to send that through a pair of Taunton defenders to João Vitor Nieva. And now the pass gets deflected away as Coelho tried to send it back towards the center of the field. And now Taunton has a chance to bring it up the other way. And eventually, Alefe de Oliveira closes in, guides it out of play. Deflected off of Taunton and out, so Milford sends it back in. Boaventura heads it along. And Taunton collects at midfield. Now the two sides go back and forth with possession. Boaventura, good ball protection, gets it ahead to João Vitor Nieva. And Taunton intercepts the pass. No look pass. Madden able to step up to receive it. And miscommunication there for Carvalho. Coach Edwards stepping up along the sideline to talk to his senior captain after that bit of miscommunication. Now Madden taking it along the near side. A quick centering pass to Oliveira, trying to settle it down, trying to get a shot away. Still has it on his foot, and the ball deflected away by the keeper. Taunton living very dangerously with one of the top scorers at point-blank range. He fought to settle that ball down to get a shot away, but Taunton able to make the save. But Milford will have another corner kick. Not much wind. And Taunton able to get to that one first and trying to clear it up the far sideline, and more contact between these two teams. The whistle comes going against the Scarlet Hawks. 8:35 on the first half game clock. Lucas da Silva perched on the sideline waiting to check in at the next opportunity. Here's João Vitor Nieva again. Couldn't settle the ball down. Now jumps back into the play. Eventually drifts back to the keeper, Nolan Mello. Now the near sideline, and de Oliveira able to keep it alive for Borges. Borges trying to find a centering pass for João Vitor Nieva. Taunton wins it back. And now up the far sideline with 7:45 left in the half. Deflection ends up going to Zach Brown. Back to midfield where Taunton regroups. Kyle Aubin back into the game after getting shaken up earlier. Looks to be okay. Now Nieva defensively loses his footing. Taunton guiding it back. A little bit of space now as this kick is sent over and out. Orellana letting it go. This will allow substitutions on both sides with the game clock now under 7 minutes. Milford in a close battle atop the Davenport Division standings with Taunton. They are just 1 point off. First place Canton, who is 5-1-1 overall on the season. Here's De Oliveira, steps into the midfield, takes control, pass ahead looking for Nieva, who is able to adjust nicely. Now Carvalho. Now backwards to Boaventura, who will send it all the way back to the defense. Down to 6 minutes left to go as this will end up on the foot of Zach Brown. Now Madden along to Coelho. Coelho trying to shoot that pass ahead to Nieva, but Taunton gets there. And now the whistle against Taunton. Milford quickly sends it along. All the way down the near sideline. Coelho towards the corner, centers it up for De Oliveira. And that one sliding across the goal mouth and out of play. And despite not walking away with the score, Coach Edwards continues to be happy with the opportunities that his team is creating on offense. Now just over 5 minutes to go. And now ahead for Nieva, who has a step, runs out of real estate. And Milford able to deflect that off of Taunton before it went out, so Nieva, very smart play leading to a corner kick chance. Taunton not happy with the call. Here's Tiago Carvalho as we have a little more breeze now blowing across the field before this corner kick. It'll come with less than 4.5 minutes to play in this first half. And still up for grabs now, and the shot and the save. The shot came off the foot of Lucas De Silva, but a sprawling save made by Nolan Mello. Mello has played well in net for Taunton in this half. He has faced a lot of fire. Let an early opportunity go for Omar Lima, but outside of that, he has made a number of good saves. Now, fight along the near sideline, won by Milford. Moved ahead by Carvalho, splits a couple of defenders. Can he center it up? And again, that will deflect off of Taunton and out. Milford fans love it. And another opportunity from the near corner for Carvalho. With time really winding down now in this first half. Milford trying to double that lead. More of a line drive kick. Milford will chase it to the far corner, but Taunton gets to it first. Joey Madden there. Taunton can't quite settle it across the length of the field now for Tiago Carvalho. Back to Madden. Now quick pass ahead trying to find De Oliveira, but couldn't quite get it there. 2.5 minutes to go on the game clock as Boaventura now tries to fight through a defender on the far sideline. Fighting to keep position. Milford breaks it out. Nieva with the backwards pass looking for Wallace and De Oliveira. And now Madden trying to step up. He loses his feet. And the whistle goes against the Tigers. And the clock right now about to tick under 2 minutes. And so we'll wait now for the whistle down at field level for the conclusion of this half. But Milford with a good chance coming up here. Wallace and De Oliveira with the kick. Right on goal, and the deflection and the save made by Mello. Knocked it down. Milford trying to streak in for a rebound chance, but Mello held on. And again, the good play by the netminder for Taunton. Keeping the deficit at 1. Milford now trying to move this ball along. But the offside's called. De Oliveira just a step too quick there. Still 1-0 as that ball deflects out and collected by the Milford head coach Brian Edwards, and now handing off to Joey Madden, who will toss it in. João Vitor Nieva will sit for these final moments of the first half. Madden now the long toss, takes a good friendly Milford bounce all the way to Wallace and De Oliveira. Makes his way around one defender, good footwork, centers it up, and the ball drifts wide. And Taunton able to clear it out back to the Milford defense. Let's see another Taunton player slow to get to his feet, Brett Bolio. But now able to get back into the play as Taunton will have the kick. Just seconds to go now in this first half. Milford still leading it 1-0. Milford gets the quick deflection and right back to Wallace and De Oliveira. Passes ahead for De Silva. And Coach Edwards hoping to see one final opportunity offensively for his team. With just a few seconds left to go, they'll set up for the corner kick on the far side this time. It'll be Thiago Carvalho again. This may very well be the final play of the half as the kick loops in. Now back out from Madden. And there is the final whistle of the half. So all kinds of chances on the offensive side for the Scarlet Hawks throughout the first 40 minutes. They were able to net their first chance. About a minute 58 seconds in, we saw Omar Lima give Milford the 1-0 lead, and that is where the score remains. Milford controlling that first half of play, so a lot of good to be discussed between Coach Edwards and his team here at halftime. We will step away, and we'll have the second half of this Hockomock League crossover matchup between Milford and Taunton right after this. Again, a 1-0 lead for Milford over Taunton here on Milford TV. Welcome back to Milford High School. Time for the second half to get underway between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Taunton Tigers. Boys soccer action here on Milford TV. I am Tim Coet. It is a 1-0 lead for Milford over Taunton. Again, if you were just joining us, that goal scored by Omar Lima just 2 minutes into the first half. Scarlet Hawks with multiple opportunities to tack on to the lead as the half went along. Joshua Rolana faced a couple of scary moments within the first minute or two of the half, and from there, Milford really carrying play. Not a lot transpiring around the Milford net. And meanwhile, it looks like we're going to see both sides earn the yellow card here. Both number 7s. Anthony Salvador on the Milford side and Alec Nunes on the Taunton side, both getting the yellow. And so a stoppage now as the officials get things situated at field level. So some hard contact between Nunes and Salvador. And so yellows on each side. So not quite 2 minutes in. And now finally we will continue as Milford, who now attacks from left to right across your screens here in the second half, trying to send it deep. Tiago Carvalho, little give and go, now ahead looking for Wallison de Oliveira. He sends it no look to Lucas da Silva in the corner, now across the field. And Milford able to send a soft shot on net, and Nolan Mello able to make the save. Mello really the best player that Taunton had out there in the first half, had to face an onslaught from the Milford offense throughout that first half and was able to make some difficult saves. Alec Nunes now is going to jump back into the play after receiving the yellow card a moment ago. Anthony Salvador still on the sidelines for Milford. So we mentioned some of the Hockomock League standings as the first half went along. Get to the full standings here as the second half goes along. We told you the top two teams in the Davenport, Canton right now leading it with an overall record of 5-1-1, 11 points overall on the season. Milford in a virtual tie for second place with North Attleboro. Milford at 3-1-2. North Attleboro at 2-0-5. 5 draws on the season so far for North Attleboro. We mentioned that defense. They've allowed just 2 goals through their first 7 matches, but they've only scored 5. Foxborough in 4th place at 2-3-1, and Sharon and Stoughton in 5th and 6th respectively. Neither has come away with a win yet on the season. Sharon at 0-4-3, and Stoughton a real tough start at 0-7. Scored just 3 goals. They've allowed 25, so a tough year so far for the Black Knights. Those are your Davenport division standings. And the Kelly Rex, the only team that has handed Milford a loss so far on the season. The Mansfield Hornets lead the way in the Kelly Rex. "35 minutes and change to go here in the second half as Milford wins it, and the Taunton player down behind the play. Looks to be Dylan Cullis for Taunton. Now gets back up, will stay out. Milford will have the free kick. And now this one taking a bounce right at the feet of Borges, and he's able to direct it in for the score. Jordan Borges. That kick came in right at his feet. He was able to settle it and eventually get it past the keeper, and Borges able to give Milford now a 2-0 lead. 34-59. And so a timeout now is called for as Milford is finally able to double that lead. It felt like it was only a matter of time. So many opportunities in the first half, and now Jordan Borges able to give Milford a 2-0 lead over Taunton. Timeout on the field. We'll take the timeout as well. More in a moment here on Milford TV. Milford off the free kick chance. Jordan Borges able to finish it to give the team now a 2-0 lead. Taunton now starting to feel a sense of urgency as they have not been able to really get any consistent time to find a rhythm on offense. Milford has played them very tough throughout this match. That's the first goal of the season for Jordan Borges. Came into today with a pair of assists. And now that ball ends up finding its way towards the Milford net, grabbed by Orellana. And De Oliveira trying to guide it down, ended up deflecting it towards Taunton's Charlie Fisk. .33:40 on the game clock here in the second half. Another whistle going against the Tigers, and Joey Madden sending it towards the keeper. Orellana will let this one fly back downfield. Lima the first to get to it. Now stepping into the play, Lucas De Silva. Trying to find Borges again. Instead, back to Wallace and De Oliveira. De Oliveira trying to get a little creative with the pass to find Borges. And meanwhile, contact around midfield leaves Taunton's Evan Mello a little slow to get to his feet, but now looks to be fine to continue. De Oliveira very quickly closing in, forced Taunton to rush that play upfield, and the result, a shot that drifted wide to the right of the net. As the pressure from De Oliveira. Taunton eventually settling that ball down at midfield, getting it back to their defense. Back to Evan Mello. Mello gets around Borges. Now Colby Fernandez. Moved ahead by Brett Bolio. Zach Brown trying to clear it. Boaventura. Finally, Lucas De Silva able to get there. Now here's Wallace and De Oliveira. Just one defender to beat, gets the deflection off the hands of the keeper and in. And Wallace and De Oliveira has his 6th goal of this 2018 season, and Milford now opens up a 3-0 lead. There is the speed, there is the power of De Oliveira. Had one defender. He was able to maintain position and eventually get the score. Just about 9 minutes into this second half, already the second goal of the second half for the Scarlet Hawks. So throughout the first half, Taunton able to survive with just the single goal deficit, but eventually Milford now finding ways to wear this Tigers team down. So now the second most goals Milford has scored in a single game on the season, 3 different goal scorers. And so defense continuing to be an issue for this Taunton team, as now Milford again sends it deep onto their attacking side. And this time the ball deflects out of play. Last year for Taunton, they scored a total of 30 goals on the year, but they allowed a total of 46 goals, as that chance from long range for Milford drifts wide to the right of the net. 46 goals allowed back in the 2017 season, the second most in all of the Hockomock League. It was the most in the Davenport. Or excuse me, the most in the Kelly Rex. It was only Stoughton in the Davenport that allowed more goals last season. They allowed 66 in all of the 2017 year. So Taunton so far this season now allowing 15 goals in now 7 matches. And Milford will take over here with 29:08 on the second half clock. Milford in full control now, up by 3 scores. Tiago Philadelphio and João Vitor Nieva waiting to check back in. Thiago Carvalho finding De Oliveira, who heads it down, but wide of the net. Play up the far side. Milford again has possession. Carvalho moving it ahead down towards the corner. Milford stays with it. That's Leo Coelho, who couldn't quite control. Now back to Carvalho. A quick strike for Joey Madden. Madden eventually finding De Oliveira, whose chance goes just wide to the left. And how many chances has De Oliveira had so far in this match? As this Milford program has continued to rebuild over the last few seasons, everyone had the feeling that this was the year that they were going to put it all together. They could see the pieces coming together, the experience growing. This current nucleus of players, a lot of seniors on this team, a lot of upperclassmen, as now here's De Oliveira, gets it past the keeper and in, his second goal of the game, his second goal of the half, and just too strong for this Taunton team as De Oliveira makes it 4-0 Milford. And that one just too easy. And this is already now De Oliveira's 3rd multi-goal game of the season. He scored 2 in the season opener. and a 2-1 win over Franklin. Then had the hat trick against Foxborough on the 17th, and now 2 more goals here today. Will we see another hat trick on the season for De Oliveira? Still 26 minutes and change to go in the second half. And Milford really breaking the will of the Tigers here with still 26 minutes left to go in this match. Coach Taylor Witters on the Taunton side, still trying to get her team focused back in. Boaventura and Borges come together to send that ball deep in. De Oliveira back in the neighborhood, and Taunton this time able to get the ball away. You have to think as the season goes on, teams are going to have to devote more and more resources to trying to contain Wallace and De Oliveira, and what will that open up for the rest of his teammates as the shot from the top of the box drifts wide for the Tigers. More bright sunshine splashing across the turf field here in Milford as Orellana will send the goal kick deep. Line drive that drifts just past midfield. Borges trying to fight through a defender to get there, but Taunton the first to it. Upfield goes Kyle Aubin. And Milford ends up calmly sending it back to their keeper, but can't get the clear. Joey Madden, fortunately back there in the far corner, keeps position, and that ball sent out. I believe that was Brett Bolio, who was there in the corner for the Tigers. Now De Oliveira. He'll send this one all the way on net. But a much easier stop that time for Nolan Mello. It's a Milford team oozing confidence right now. Boaventura, after running into his teammates, still able to stay there with the play. Now Zach Brown gets the clear. De Oliveira with the pass to Borges. Now back to De Oliveira, who's all alone, taking his time, and this time Mello able to make the save, and in for the rebound chance was Lucas De Silva, but he pops it up over the net. De Oliveira very nearly finishing off the hat trick just 3 minutes after his last score. That time Mello able to make the save, allowed the rebound chance, but Milford couldn't cash in. But now De Oliveira again, and fortunately for Taunton, they're able to step in. Aubin deflects it away. Milford plays it back to their D, and Zach Brown could tell his team was losing position there, so he sends it out of play. Taunton will toss it in with 22:26 on the game clock. And now possession going back to the Scarlet Hawks, and this Taunton team really showing the signs of frustration. Here's Borges now. He gets good position, trying to center it up for De Oliveira. Ends up back now to Boaventura. Boaventura with Two Taunton players around him, sends it back to the defense, and now this ball drifts up and over. João Vitor Nieva there. And that forces the keeper to play it out of bounds. More hustle for Milford, despite the big lead. Now across midfield, and again, Milford will elect to play it back to the keeper, and Orellana now sends it on a line. And Taunton now with the whistle as Alec Nunes, who has the yellow card, goes down hard. Tiago Carvalho trying to help him to his feet. Nunes says no thank you, and now we'll use a teammate to help stretch out that calf before he gets back up now. Looks to be moving just fine. Taunton desperate to get on the scoreboard, down 4-0 with 20 minutes down, 20 minutes to go in the second half, but Milford again with the clear. This ball will find the keeper, and Mello sends it out of play right just shy of the 50, and now a couple of subs coming in on both sides. Toss finds De Oliveira. Travels all the way back to midfield before giving way. Now the Hawks streak up the far sideline. It's Coelho. The ball out of play off of Milford. Hawks have seen a lot of action on their home field through the early part of this season. They've played just 2 road games so far. The win at Franklin and the loss at Mansfield. They'll be on the road for their next 3 straight matches after this one today. Games at Stoughton, at Oliver Ames, and then at Canton. In the first matchup against Canton on the season, we'll see if these 2 teams are still 1 and 2 in the standings on that match, which will take place a week from tomorrow, October the 4th. Corner kick for the Scarlet Hawks, coming with just over 18 minutes left. And in and out of the hands of the keeper. Dangerous moment for Mello, but able to play the bounce and hang on. And a couple of players going after that boot by Mello, and Taunton taking the worst of the contact. Mateus Hagemeyer. Finally helped to his feet. Will stay on the field. Taunton with the kick with 17:20 on the clock. They send it softly over to the far sideline for Evan Mello back into the game. Now it's Joey Madden. Takes possession back for the Scarlet Hawks. Milford sprinting upfield and looking for the opportunity for Monahan, who checked into the game just moments ago. And now more players down for the Tigers. And still down now right at midfield. Clock continuing to tick down with 16.5 minutes now left on this second half game clock. Liam Crowley, the one shaken up on the play, but he stays out there. Hard header deflected well back out by Nuno Mestre. And now Boaventura. Boaventura getting whistled for the infraction there, and this will result in the free kick for the Tigers. Coach Edwards voicing his displeasure with the call. Meanwhile, Taunton with their best chance to get on the scoreboard. Alec Nunes sets up for it. And a low line drive kick deflected by Milford. Now Madden with the pass to De Oliveira, who wasn't quite expecting it, so Taunton able to keep it. But just briefly, and now Madden breaking out. Madden back towards the center of the field now before he finally has the ball taken away. Milford wins it back. Good play by Mestre. Now the ball up for grabs, settled down by Taunton's Brett Bolio. Good footwork by Matthias Hagemeyer. The ball out of play. Taunton keeps it. Taunton trying to find a little something here in the later stages of the half. Now out for Borges. Borges trying to hit De Oliveira in stride. Now Monahan trying to send it back to Mestre. That pass a little offline. Borges finds it. Now Coelho. Mestre up the near sideline. This will be Milford ball, 13:36 on the second half clock. And meanwhile, Wallace and De Oliveira now will take a seat on the bench. After a 2-goal performance so far here in the second half, we'll see if he sees any more time. But Milford with the big lead, taking the chance to rest their star scorer. Thiago Philadelphio, Milford's third captain. Haven't seen Philadelphia much so far in this match. Monahan now wins it, has a lot of space to work with. Trying to center up the pass and couldn't quite get there in time. Alefe De Oliveira. Just over 12 minutes left in this second half. It looks like we might see a change in net for Milford here in the final 10 minutes as Cam Doherty senior right now, perched on the sideline waiting to check in. Meanwhile, Milford sends a deep shot well up over the net through the football uprights and out of play. And now Doherty will come in, and Josh Orellana will head to the sidelines. He'll get a rest for these last 11 minutes. Very nice game for Orellana, not allowing a goal through nearly 70 minutes of work here today. So Coach Edwards with an opportunity to give some of his bench players an opportunity to see some minutes with the large lead. The Hawks get the clear. Monahan moving along with the ball. The ball deflects to Coach Edwards, and Monahan immediately turns around and tosses it back into play. Tiago Carvalho still out there. He will toss in for the Scarlet Hawks. Ball deflects off the foot of Boaventura, who immediately climbs back into the play. Now across midfield, Joey Madden. The captain's still out there. He couldn't quite get positioning. Taunton able to send it deep, but Cam Doherty will scoop it. Cam Doherty on the season. This is now the fourth game in which he has appeared. He's allowed 3 goals on the season. Orellana, this was Orellana's third game played. He's allowed just 1 goal so far on this 2018 regular season. Just under 9 minutes to go. Milford on the verge of enjoying win number 4 on the season. A collision, the whistle going against Taunton. Milford wasting no time. Madden trying to streak past a defender, but a good play there by Taunton. That was Kyle Aubin, who was able to wrestle the ball away from Madden. More substitutions now for the Hawks. João Vitor Nieva back into the game. Looks like Lucas da Silva coming back in as well. We'll see João Boaventura and Jordan Borges head to the bench. Borges, one of the goal scorers today. 3 different players on the score sheet for the Scarlet Hawks. Lima, Borges, and then 2 for De Oliveira. 3 of those goals coming here in the second half to give Milford a 4-0 lead, which they hold with 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go. The clock right now stopped. The Tigers came into this game with some momentum, wins in their previous 2 matches. A 2-1 win at home against Sharon, and then a 3-0 win on the road against Franklin. But that winning streak looks to be in jeopardy here this afternoon. Play to the near side. Taunton can't keep it in. Philadelphia tosses it back. João Vitor Nieva racing over to get involved. As we mentioned earlier, very much looking forward to getting our first coverage of the girls' soccer team coming up here at this very field tomorrow. Girls will take on Davenport Division rival Stoughton as Nieva sends that ball out of play wide to the right of the net. Six and a half minutes left on the clock in the second half as Taunton sets up for the goal kick. Now Nieva, and again, the defensive play made by Kyle Aubin. He's had some nice moments defensively for the Tigers. And the long toss over the head of Nieva. And now guided out by the Tigers. Madden now finds it. Leo Coelho having to turn on the Jets to stay with his man. Now contact on both sides as the ball gets deflected hard out and off into the woods. Two players just going hard after the ball. Taunton looked to take a little worse of the collision. Jarrett Roderick, a junior for the Tigers, who is a little slow to get back up. Taunton tosses it in now with less than 5 minutes to go. Poked back towards midfield by Milford, but sent back in deep by Taunton, but away from the net and out. Cam Doherty now into the game in net for Milford, goes to collect that loose ball now. Will give way to Joey Madden for the goal kick. And now the whistle goes against the Scarlet Hawks. Taunton takes their time to get set. It's like the JV squads have wrapped up their match as they now come onto the scene. The ball deflects over in the neighborhood of the goal, and a knee slide over for Doherty to make the stop. Now pops the kick up right to the 50. Now deflects back in towards the Taunton attacking side, but Milford with a trio there to settle it. Trying to move it ahead to João Vitor Nieva. Fighting hard on that possession, Colby Fernandez of Taunton. A little jersey grabbing, but no whistle. The ball deflects out as we quickly approach 2 minutes left to go. Taunton goes off into the tree line to collect the loose ball, as now another ball sent over into the area from the Milford bench. Wind starting to pick up here in Milford in these final minutes. Milford coaching staff preaching no fouls from the sidelines here as we are about to go under 2 minutes to go. Tiago Philadelphia with the clear. Now Milford trying to find Mestre along the near sideline. Tiago Philadelphia, he hits Alefe de Oliveira. Many of the key contributors from this match for the Scarlet Hawks now turned spectator for these final minutes. Deserved time on the bench after a solid performance here today against Taunton. Again, Milford caught slightly by surprise in those early possessions. Best chance Taunton had, a couple of looks, point-blank range on net for Orellana. He was able to make the save, and then Milford also getting some help from Jordan Borges, who was able to make a play at net. But outside of that, not many opportunities at all for this Taunton team all day. We wait for the final whistle now as Leo Coelho tries to keep that ball in play on the far sideline, but just deflects out. Coelho flying right back into the play again, still showing plenty of energy out there. Madden, the long toss to midfield right as we get the final whistle of the game, so that will do it here this afternoon. What a game for the Milford Scarlet Hawks here this afternoon. Omar Lima getting it started just 2 minutes into the first half to give Milford ultimately the only goal they would need on the day. It would be a 1-0 score at the half, and then Milford exploding for 3 goals early in the second half to put the game out of reach. Jordan Borges about 5 minutes in, and then it was Walson de Oliveira with a pair of goals as the second half went on. His 6th and 7th of the year. Borges with his first, Lima with his second, and it all totals up to a 4-0 victory for Milford over Taunton here this afternoon. So Milford does indeed grab their 4th win of the season, so they improve overall on the year now to 4-1-2, and Taunton with the loss will fall to 2-3-2 overall on the season. Again, Milford will be on the road for their next match. They will travel to Stoughton on September 28th to take on the Black Knights. And our next coverage will come here at home for the girls soccer team tomorrow as they take on their counterparts from Stoughton. But that will wrap up our coverage here this afternoon. A big thank you to Rob O'Keefe, who is our cameraman, our director, our jack of all trades here in the broadcast booth today. And I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, 4-0 Milford over Taunton. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.